What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another live Pen to Gas podcast on this beautiful, wet and rainy and cold Saturday afternoon here in Roanoke, Virginia. I don't know if is it raining out there where you guys are, right?
Oh yeah. It started
Yeah.
out of snow and now it's raining.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but listen, everyone, welcome back. It's always an honor to sit down with all my friends and legends of the sport, such as Ray, and I can't wait to get in his story. But before we do that, this episode is sponsored by Next Level Financial. Take control of your financial future. Get your complimentary financial analysis today by Seth Starnes, which is important, Ray, because he not only does he has another company called Next Level Suspension, right? Everybody knows who Seth is in the game, and he's a racer, right? A track day guy, and he understands, the financial side of what it takes to keep going in this sport, much as you do too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have your finances together, you're not going to be able to afford it.
Yeah, and this is true. And Ray, I tell everybody this too, man. Don't spend your money no more on an off the rack suit because it's not going to fit 90% of us correctly. When you have a suit that is improper fitment, it causes all kinds of issues on the track. Example, if it's too tight right here, it's going to cause arm pump. That's not what you need on the bike trying to push your limits and have fun. At that point, you're not having fun no more because now you concentrate on my hands are asleep. I got to rest them somehow to try to get some blood flow back in them so I can hold on for this next corner coming up at Mach warp speed. So my recommendation, and people, it's 2025. Treat yourself. Love yourself. Yes, I'm talking to you, everybody listening. Go to bisontrack.com. Sign up and get that full custom suit started going right here. I got the suit, the chest protector, and his son, aka Logan Monk, which he's been on my podcast many times. The legend, he rides in bison too.
Absolutely. We have to get a new one every year. Not because they're worn out, but because he grows out of them.
Dude, and Logan's a tall boy too. I remember when I met him, I was like, "What's up, dude?" Oh my god, this is funny. Well, Raymond, welcome to the podcast, friend.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's an absolute honor, man. We have a lot to talk about. So let's start with your personal journey into the wonderful world of two wheels.
Oh boy, let's see. I don't think I've ever known my father not to have a motorcycle. My uncles all had motorcycles. I think we just grew up around motorcycles. I never had my own personally until I was 16, though. My dad had bought a Honda that had a sidecar on it. And the 350 that was attached to the sidecar, he didn't want. So I was given that opportunity to rebuild that. And that became my first bike.
I love it. So your story is kind of like mine. I grew up in the Navy. I never had my own dirt bike, but every base we moved to, I met the friends. I personally sought out kids that had dirt bikes and become their friends. So that's how I grew up riding. I didn't get my first bike until I was 6. Well, I got my motorcycle license and my driver's license within the same 2 weeks from each other when I turned 16. And then my first vehicle was about a brand new motorcycle off the showroom floor, 1996 ZX6R. I was a cool kid in school, riding a brand new bike to school, So, yeah, buddy. So, my journey is like yours. So, and the sidecar thing, those are super cool. If anybody has not ever had a chance to ride or the opportunity in a sidecar, I'm not talking about the racing sidecar, but that's proper mega too. But a normal bike with a sidecar on it, man, it's that itself is an experience sitting in a sidecar, not riding it, but sitting in a sidecar. It's
both of them are an experience for sure. Because you can't ride the bike the same.
No, it don't turn the same.
No.
It don't handle the same. You almost steer it kind of like a car. I mean,
yeah.
There's hardly any counter steering to it. My uncles bought some replica sidecars. I want to say from Thailand or Germany. I forget the brand. They brought them back to the States. And the first thing I said was, "Where's the key at? I have got to ride this thing," right? Took it around, hit the parkway for 30 minutes, come back and was like, "Well, that's different, like a lot different." The brakes. So this is like a Chinese version knockoff. It had no brakes, Raymond, hardly at all. Like if the stop sign's 50 yards away, you better start about 40 yards out and all the way back to the lever. And I'm pulling back like, "Please stop, please stop, please stop." So, and then he said, "Do you want to ride in the sidecar?" I said, "I do, but we're not leaving the neighborhood. I want to stay in the neighborhood because this thing brakes like it don't, so to speak. So they just laughed at me.
I
Yeah.
have an uncle who he lives in Florida. He has a BMW with a sidecar, and I don't know if you've ever seen the sidecars where you can lean the motorcycle. He has one of those, and that's another experience.
I bet it is, man. Yeah, that's there's nothing like it, man. Because just sitting in the sidecar, it's like it was soothing. Like I could actually go to sleep in that thing if it was long enough, and I could actually lay down. Um, I guess because you feel it's different because you feel every road undulation, bump, the whole nine. It's
Yeah.
nothing like sitting on a bike because it's got suspension on it, right? Um, the sidecar don't. It's just bolted to it with a hard axle. And it's just, but they
Well, the
are.
reason my father had gotten it was so that the whole family could go ride together. So, my dad, my mom would be on the bike, and then my sister and I would be in the sidecar. So we could all experience it together.
Having fun.
Yep.
It's memories you'll never forget, man. It won't. So, from your first motorcycle, where else did it take you, Ray?
Oh man, I rode that thing. I rode that thing everywhere. That was like my main mode of transportation. I was coming back from work one night, back roads of Pennsylvania, heading into a turn. The headlight burnt out mid turn. I'm flipping the gauges. I'm looking at everything. The gauges are working. The light's not working. Next thing I know, boom, I'm down. I'm in somebody's driveway. I was lucky that I went down where I did because I missed a rock pile and I missed a tree, and I just happened to go down this guy's driveway. So I limped over to his house and asked him to call my dad and come gather me up. That was the end of that bike.
Oh man! So after that, did you end up getting you another bike or?
Oh yeah, yep. Actually, my father gave me the 82. I think it was an 82 Sabre, Honda Sabre, 750 shaft drive. He gave me that bike. I had to swap a motor into it, I think, before I could ride that. And I rode that for quite a while too. Trying to think of how old I was when I crashed that one. That bike, that bike had some weird suspension where it would get tank slap on you for no reason. And I had left the house one time. I was heading up to, at the time, my girlfriend, now my wife, was heading up to her house. Just got done watching a superbike race on TV. So I'm heading up the Tar and Chip Road. I hit a bump and it starts tank slapping. And I was like, oh man, here we go. I'm I'm an idiot too because I'm just wearing a t-shirt and jeans. So I'm sliding down this Tar and Chip Road, bare hands, took outsides of my arms off, hands gone, knee all skinned up. But I didn't break anything. That finished that bike off too.
Yeah, I've ridden one of those bikes. To me, it's they're nice in a straight line. It's
Yep.
it's when you start to get in the corners. I think the head angle, the rake in the trail is a little bit funky on that bike to begin
Yep.
with. And I mean, of course, it's a cruiser, but they still got to handle somewhat in order to go around a corner. Otherwise, they're not safe. So my buddy had one, and man, I took it. I was doing like 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, whatever it is. I go in a corner, man, same thing. It just starts. I'm like, oh, here we go, right? Same thing. Just pin the gas is what you got to do, and it eventually sorted itself out. And I had to change my underwear. But when I got back, like when I come to stop, I grabbed the front brake, and the steering stem bearings needed to be changed because it was
Mm,
notching coming back, and I was like, well, there's one of your main issues right here, right?
right.
He had bought it used, and I had to pull the carburetors off that thing. And dude, you talking about a pain in the ass job. There's no room the way the frame rails come right here, and you can't, dude. It's yeah, man. It was anyway. It's a nice bike though. It cruises. It's comfortable. It's something you can just go on 400 or 500 mile road trip as long as it's straight lines. So if you're in
Yeah.
Utah, it's a perfect bike.
Right.
Oh
Well,
man, I love it.
my wife and I, well, she was my girlfriend at the time. We rode it up to Massachusetts and back. You know,
Nice. I
that was
love it.
before I crashed it. But yeah.
So, I met my wife on a blind date. A friend of mine, she kept saying, I got this girl you got to meet. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, maybe one day we'll meet. And yeah, we ended up meeting, and that was it. And since then, I've been trying to give her back to her daddy. I'm just joking, babe. You know, I love you every time. Look, it's just the inside house jokes. Every time I see her
Yeah.
dad, I was like, bro,
He's like, you signed the paper. She's yours.
dude, that's exactly what he said. He said you signed the so I did it the old school method too. Like we met, started dating for a while, and I was like, you know, if I'm gonna do this, I need to ask your dad for obviously permission to marry you. So I know he's big into guns, I'm big into guns. So I called him up, was like, yeah, well, you know, I'll come over, let's have a chat. And Nikki tells me you're a big gun advocate. I got a bunch too. So, you know, show me your collection. So I show up, we get to talking, we go downstairs. As he's in the middle of showing me his gun collection with a shotgun in his hand, I said, the reason why I come down here to talk to you is to ask permission to marry your daughter. And he looked at me, he says, boy, there's two things. You're either stupid or you get the biggest balls I've ever seen anybody in my life. Right. And I said, well, that's how serious I am. Right. And he was like, nothing but respect. And then when I introduced him to my dad, we went out and ate at this seafood place. And he asked my dad, he says, I just got one question, John. He said, what's that? He says, where does your son keep that wheelbarrow? And my dad said, what are you talking about? He said, from the big ass balls he has for asking me to marry my daughter in the middle of me showing him my gun collection. My dad looked at me, he says, what is wrong with you? I said, I keep the wheelbarrow in the garage. That's exactly where it's at. Oh, man. So, where did you guys meet?
Uh, let's see. My grandmother was an elementary school teacher, and my wife actually had her as a teacher. So we had met, you know, when I was younger. We didn't start dating until I was 15. She was 14. So in high school, and we've been together ever since.
High school sweethearts. I
Yeah,
love it. You
yeah.
don't,
We got
you know,
married.
go ahead. Sorry, Raymond.
We got married after she graduated from college. Though we waited until she graduated.
That's a, that's a great way to do it. You know, I find often that all the friends that I stay in contact with, not one of them is still married to their high school sweetheart. Right. I think it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's like I tell my friends, man, marriage is, she's my queen and she's my everything, but it is work. It's nothing but
Oh yeah,
compromise, conversations and talks. Don't never go to bed mad. You know, there's always that you know, conversation. That's what you got to do, is communicate all the time. Once you lose that communication, it just kind of, yeah, goes out the window from there. So, dude,
yeah.
that's awesome.
It's not all.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's not always smooth sailing. You know,
And,
we spent 8 years trying to have Logan.
really?
Oh yeah, yep. We did IVF 4 or 5 times. It was a struggle, man. We were both like, we can't do this anymore. We had miscarriages and everything.
I
We're both like, we're done. We're done. We are done trying this. We're over it. So we started looking at adoption. Ended up getting pregnant.
practice makes perfect, don't
Yeah,
it?
I guess.
I
All
love it,
the
man.
stress was off. And
Dude,
just happened.
that's wild that you said that, because me and my wife struggled with the same thing. Like it wasn't an issue with Rossi, but after that, man, it was, we couldn't do anything, right? And again, dude, bunch of miscarriages. And the last one, I was working at this job and I had just started out, right, like literally like maybe 2 weeks into it, and I'm sitting at my desk at the office, and um my wife calls me up, and there's just something in her voice. She's like, I don't feel right, there's something wrong, can you come home? And I was like, on my way. By the time I hung up the phone, her dad called me and says, get your ass back to the house, blah 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 blah. I was like, dude, I'm on it. I walk in the door, bro, she's as white as a guy. I've never seen a living human being as white as she was. Didn't call 911, threw her ass in the car, was doing like mock but Jesus on the way there. I called 911, told him what the deal was. Like, look, I'm doing like 100 miles an hour on this 45 an hour road, man. Like, there's something seriously wrong with my wife. I'm on the way to the ER, so please get behind me. I will not stop. Like, just won't do it. Pulled up in there, a couple cops behind me, got her out. She was working at Korean at the time, so that's where I took her. as soon as they got her in there, they did emergency surgery. She ended up having it got stuck in whatever part that was. Anyway, it ended up rupture and caused over 2 liters of blood to go in her stomach. So, man, I was this close to losing my wife.
Right.
They
Bleeding out.
said, bro,
Well,
dude,
internal bleeding, actually.
yeah, internal,
Yeah.
man. And
Yeah.
I just remember there looking at her on the table as they were preparing her for surgery, and she was already a little cold to the touch. And man, I had so many emotions running through my head, like I really didn't know. And like they kept talking to me, but all I heard was like Charlie Brown, no bullshit, just wah wah. Like I couldn't comprehend what was going on. It was just in this. It's hard to explain when you're in that state of mind. But anyway, they told me that they come out, surgery was good. They're like, look, everything's going to be okay. But if you would have waited 10 more minutes, or you called 911, wait for the ambulance to get here, she wouldn't be here right now. So I did the right thing. And they also said what also saved her was she smoked cigarettes. So a cigarette smokers, your blood is thicker, so it don't flow as freely as mine or your blood would. So yeah, after that, man, she's just like, I'm not doing this no more. After several mishaps, and then this happened, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Just stay away from me for a while, right? Like, yeah, I was scared to death too. So I feel you on that, bro. And congratulations, because having that one, just like me with Rossi, it's everything.
Yeah.
It makes it. I don't want to say it makes it more special, but to me, it does, just because of that situation.
Yeah, you don't take it for granted, that's for sure.
No, you don't. And I think a part of that is the reason why I am with my son. I spend all my time with him. Basically, if I get invited out with my friends to go somewhere or something, if kids ain't allowed to go, then I just don't go. So
Yeah.
I love to
It's like there's any reason not to take your kids. I mean, if your kids are well behaved, there's no reason not to take them.
No, man.
If you raise them right, they're going to be well behaved. That's the way I look at it.
No, dude, Ray, I'm with you. And speaking of our race, beautiful circus is what I always call it. It is the only place that I've ever felt comfortable taking my son to. And by the time we show up, and this is after we got to know everybody, and this is before my podcast, before I even was on this podcast. We met Yandel Mendia and his family, and as soon as we go to the track and they're there, like Rossi get out the car, he'll go find them, and I might see him 2 or 3 times that whole day until he's starving to death, which most time people feed him anyway,
Yep.
or he's tired and he's ready to go, right? Now, since we know everybody, Ray, dude, we'll show up to the track. Literally, as soon as we get out the car, he's talking, Yandel, I'm gonna go see Yandel. I'm gonna go see Levy and Logan and Kevin Horney, and I'm gonna go say hi to all my friends, Daddy. I was like, okay, cool. You got a phone, I got a phone. If you need something to eat or whatever, just holler at me. Like at Jersey, I seen him 4 or 5 times maybe throughout the weekend, because I see him riding around on the bike or whatever. But it was funny because he pulls up on me, Ray. He looks at me, he says, "Get on the back of the 50, Dad." And I was like, "You want me to get on the back of that bike with you?" He's like, "I got you. I got this." And I was like, okay. So I was like, I'm going to try it. Hey, we're either going to bend it or he's going to take off. I got on the back of that thing. He just took off wide open. And I was like, bro, I so bad wanted to just grab the controls. It's like, dude, slow down. Right. But dude, it was about 100 yards he took me. And finally I was like, hey man, slow down. I need to, I got to holler at my buddy over here. And he stopped, let me off, and just took off. And then I went to the car to go get him some water just real quick. He said, you pull up in Jersey, you have the women there with the flags or P1 parking and all this other parking. They'll show you where to park, right? And he looks at me, he says, "Daddy, you see that girl over there?" I was like, "Which one?" There's a bunch of them. He's like, "The girl with the orange flag parking everybody." I said, "Yeah." He says, "I'm gonna go pick her up. Watch this." My son is 12. I said, "Oh, this is gonna be funny right here." Dude, he literally pulls up next to her, and I'm about 10 yards away, so I hear the whole thing. And he says, "Hey, you." And she looks at him, smiles. She says, "You want to get on the back of this bike with me and go for a ride?" And she just, dude, the look on her face was just priceless. She was flattered, and it was hilarious, right? She's like, "I can't right now. I'm working." He says, "Well, I'll see you here in a little while then," and just takes off. And I was like, bro,
That's funny.
I'm in trouble, right? I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah. Big kind of trouble.
It is. It is. Proud dad moment.
Yeah,
I will say
yeah.
that, proud dad moment. So yeah, man, good stuff. Good stuff. So getting that bike, you done number two crash and crashed and burned. Where did your journey continue from there?
After that, I got a ZX6, and that was a fun bike. Enjoyed that bike. Rode that for, oh man, I don't even know how many years I rode that. I sold that to my brother-in-law, so I didn't crash that one. That thing was mint. I love that bike. So I sold that bike and I got a TL 1000R, which I still have.
Do you really? I love
Yep,
twins, man.
yep.
I grew up on inline fours and two strokes, of course, but when I first rode a V twin, I was like, whoa, what is this? This is absolutely amazing. The engine, it's like as soon as you touch the throttle, it's just
Yeah.
gone, you know. So yeah, it was my first twin I rode was a Super Hawk,
Mm,
Honda Super Hawk. It was amazing, and that's what started my path down the twin. So the TLR, what an
yeah.
amazing, beautiful bike. You
It's
know,
an
people,
animal.
it's a manimal, right? Absolutely, it is, dude. That's awesome. You still got it. How many miles is on it?
22,000.
That thing's
Yeah.
barely broke in.
Uh, yeah, that was the first bike I bought brand new. And like I said, I still got it. My wife and I have taken trips all over the place with that thing. That thing traveled with me when I did construction. I had it in the back of my work van, and I just took it with me. Boss was okay with it. I had a ramp. I'd wheel it out the back. I'd go ride, and I love it. Like,
Look, man, that's it. That's again, motorcyclists pick us. We don't pick bikes, right? It's dude, that's amazing. I wish I still had my first bike. I
I
know the
was,
guy that owns my first bike. I've been trying to get it back from him.
did he tease you with it?
Yeah, he'll send me pictures every once in a while. I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, you guys to stop doing that, man. Like this, that's not at this point, that's not even cool no more, right? Like
Yeah. At least you know it's still out there on the road.
it is, it is, it is. So dude, 98 TL.
2000.
Okay, 2000 blue and white
It's yellow. It had to be yellow.
had to
I
be
wouldn't
yellow.
buy it if it wasn't yellow.
I love it, dude. It's my buddy. I've ridden several of the TLs. It's dude, they had a bad rap, of course, with the rear shock, that rotary damper rear
Oh,
shock.
it's absolutely horrible. It sucks.
Is that still is it still original, or did you put a like
Yeah.
a Penske or something on it?
Nope. It's still original.
I
Only
love
thing I did to it was I put a Yosh exhaust on it. It's got a,
slip-ons, the
no,
bolt, the
no.
three oh, the full
It's a
system.
it's a full system. Yep.
Love it,
Yep.
man. I love it. It's awesome. I have a '08 Ducati 848 race bike. The last track day I did on it 7 years ago, the freaking motor went pop. Um, so it took me a while because the motor, dude, it's like almost $6,000 to get it rebuilt. Of course, I want to send it off to EDR where I got the bike from, and Seattle, let them do it because they're the ones that originally built it. So I had the money. Finally, had the money. I was like, yes, I got the money. I'm gonna buy this motor. I'm gonna get back. Facebook Marketplace. Always wanted an RC51. Bam. 2003 RC51, 54. I mean, 15,400 original miles on it. I'm like, I'm gonna call this dude right now. Went there the next day and yeah, bought that instead of a motor. So
That's
have
actually
a
the bike I was looking at before I got the TL. But
was it really?
they had so many issues. I don't know if you remember when it first came out. Kept popping the clutches.
Yep.
It was just burning the clutches off on the track, and I was like, I don't know that I want to deal with that. And the TL had been out for a couple years, so I got that. And I think the Gixxer at the time, the Gixxer,
750.
yeah, it was on. They kept pushing back the release date on it or something, so I couldn't get one of those. So the TL, like you said, just kind of picked me.
Yep. There it is, right? It's they actually, so I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when they brought out the TL 1000R, they were originally going to do away with the Gixxer 750. That was its replacement model to race in Moto America AMA Superbike back in
Yep.
the day. Steve Crevier raced it. I got the poster. It's actually downstairs of the original Yoshimura TL 1000R. It's got the 5 different pictures of the actual race bike. Um, they just couldn't, I guess, sort out the rear, even though it had an aftermarket rear shock. I don't It just ended up falling through, and the 750 is still here to this day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I miss those days, Ray, of where you had the 750 inline fours versus the 1,000 twins, because it was close competition. Um, People are like, well, that's not fair. It's 1,000 cc versus 750. I'm like, but do you know what a V twin is? It's got two pistons, not four, right?
Yeah.
So they're the same amount of horsepower. One makes a little bit more torque, but even if they're close on torque, the way the twin makes a torque, it's a flat torque curve. So as soon as you get on that gas, I mean, it's just, whereas the inline four, you got to keep it revved up like a two-stroke
Mm-hmm.
to maximize its best ability. Sweet bike, right? So do you ever get a chance to take it out and ride it?
Oh yeah, I ride it every year. Not as much as I used to because I got so many other bikes now. But yeah, I went and saw when they were racing the TLs. I think I went and saw an AMA race at the Poconos, and I heard that thing go by, and I was like, man, that thing sounds mean. So that was another incentive to get it.
100%, man. Nothing, again, nothing sounds like an inline. I mean, the inline four. All inline fours sound relatively close. They all have their own little bark and certain pitch of tune. But a twin, you hear that thing a mile away. You hear that, you're like, what is that? And it comes by, you're like, whoa, you feel it, right?
Everybody
Same
says
thing,
it sounds like a pissed off Harley.
bro. It does, man. And then when you stand anywhere, or you ride behind one on a street and you're at a stoplight and it's in front of you, it's just like,
Yep.
you feel that repercussion from it, and you're like, that thing sounds mean. Yeah, man, I love it, dude. Ray, that's congratulations. Not many people I know have their original first bike that they bought and paid off and still have to
Mm.
this day, dude.
Yeah.
Bravo.
My wife and I took a trip with father-in-law and mother-in-law. We rode the TL and he rode his Kawasaki Voyager. I forget. We did like 1,200 miles that weekend, and we got back. My wife's like, "We can't do this anymore. My butt is so sore." She's wearing a backpack. It's like, "All right, we'll go. We'll go look." We go up to local shop and take a Goldwing, '05 Goldwing out. We're out cruising around. I said, "So what do you think?" She said, "Well, we better get back and pay for this thing."
And
So
that
that's
was
how.
it.
So that's how I got the Goldwing.
I
And
love
then
it.
I think 2 months later, found out she was pregnant with Logan.
It was the bikes. It was absolutely the bikes. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. So you and her obviously still ride, and I presume you still have the going, or
Yep, yep, still got the Goldwing.
love
That's
it,
my
man.
work truck, I call it.
It is a workhorse. I remember the first going I rode. I was like, this big old heavy blumpus looking thing. I don't want to ride this thing. And I threw my leg over it, and I was like, oh. But once I got it up and I started going, I was like, whoa, this thing is amazing. Like, it is so calm. It's the Cadillac of the motorcycles. You hit bumps. I'm like, did I just run over that speed bump? I didn't feel a thing, right? It was comfortable, jamming the stereo, kicking it, right? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it's a different experience altogether for sure.
Actually handles pretty well too.
They do. They do. Matter of fact, when the FB6 come out, if I'm correct, the FB6 going, I rode that too, and it was a lot of fun. I was like, dude, now this right here, I can get down on. It had a lot of power, handled really well. There's certain bikes like the TL, like the RC51. Yeah, they're heavy bikes, right? Back in the day, we didn't have sub 370-pound horsepower motorcycles. The true race bikes we did, but the street bikes, not even close. But once you start riding them, it holds its weight really well. Like, you don't even really feel it until you come to a stop and you go to pick it back up, right? That's where you feel that dead weight on it. So absolutely. I mean, we can say the same thing about the ZX7R, which is one of my other favorite bikes. You look at it today, it's so beautiful. But you go sit on it, super wide, like the TL and the RC51. You go to pick it up, you're like, okay, I'm good. You start riding it, you're like, it hides its weight very well too. So until you get to the slower transition part of the track, and then you wore out after about 4 laps. You're like, man, you wake up the next day, you're like, man, my shoulders and my
Yeah.
arms and everything's so sore. I'm not used to this, because you're carrying around a lot more weight.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a workout.
I love it, man. So the TL, you got the Go Wing. What else is in your arsenal,
DRZ SM.
bro?
Yep.
I I am infatuated and in love with supermotos. It's one of my favorite motorcycles out there. Every time I've had my favorite supermoto I've ever owned, and I've had several, was my Aprilia SXV 550,
Okay.
the V twin one.
Yeah.
Bro, that thing was just nasty. I loved it, but I sold it because it is a true race bike for the street. So the maintenance intervals on that thing is just, I just couldn't afford it, plain and simple.
Yeah.
That's a bike you got to have money to afford. It was like every 2,500 miles, you'd have to do the valve adjustment, but you had to physically pull the motor out the frame. Like every 4,000 miles, you had to do pistons and rings, and every 8,000 miles is a complete engine tear down and rebuild. I was like, dude, I bought this thing to have fun, not constantly work on it like I'm doing right now, right? I'm not having fun no more. But every time I twist that throttle, I was like, holy shit, this thing is bad. Sold it, bought a Husqvarna 610 SM, which is a bigger, heavier bike. A lot of fun. Thing was a Willie Monster too, of course. But the only reason why I sold that bike, because you couldn't buy parts for it. You couldn't order any new parts for it. That was when, let me get this straight. Husqvarna, that was when Kaviga, I think, owned Husqvarna. And then when they sold the company, all those bikes further down, they did away with all the manufacturer parts and stuff for it. So they couldn't remake them. So everything you buy on that bike was either new that somebody had or old dealership had, or it was all used parts, like a thermostat. You couldn't buy a brand new thermostat.
That's like some of the KTMs. You catch them when they're in their, bankruptcy of many bankruptcies. It's hard to find parts for some of those bikes.
And they're doing one right now too, so to speak, right?
No,
So
that's why I said many.
But that's why I sold it. But other than that, I'd probably still have it. It was gorgeous. And then, of course, I bought a DRZ 400 SM. And I was like, dude, this thing's only like, what, 23 horsepower, 25 horsepower. But it's the most fun you'll ever. Yeah, it's heavy. It's slow. But you get out here on a twisted road at 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, you eat every crotch rocket in sight up, and it gives you that smile feeling on it, right?
Yeah.
But and then I catch myself riding wheelies everywhere I go, and then riding on sidewalks and doing jumps. And,
no, that never happens.
Never. And this is not what I'm condoning, everybody, but it's part of owning a supermoto, right? So
I think you have to.
It does. Sold it. Then my buddy bought a 701 Husqvarna, and man, that thing is like the best of everything. It is still a little heavy, but it makes great power. It does everything you ask it to do, and it don't never tie itself in knots, so to speak. So maybe one day I told my wife my next street bike I'll get is another supermoto, and don't be mad if I lose my license in the first couple months I have it.
Well, then you can put dirt wheels on it, and you're still okay.
Good to go. Yeah. Absolutely good to go. So what else is in the arsenal, man? You got quite an arsenal, man. I love it.
After Logan was born, wife said I was okay to go racing. So I got the I got the 07 GSX R600 and started club racing.
Love it.
Yep.
Do you still do any type of track days?
I usually get at least one Weaver race in a year, keep my license, and just to say I'm still a racer.
So who's faster, you or Logan?
Oh, Logan, by no means am I near his. He's been on the bike since he was 2 years old.
Yeah.
I'm not going to claim I'm faster than him for sure.
I love it. I love it. So of course, when I found out my wife was pregnant, I was like, oh, he's going to be a boy. She's like, how do you know that? I said, it's boy, 100%. And he's going to be a motorcycle nut like me. My wife's like, it don't matter. As long as they're healthy, I don't care what it is, right? And I'm like, really, me too. But I wanted a boy so bad, right? I was like, please be a boy, please be a boy, please. And of course, we go to the ultrasound. They're like, it's a boy. I was like, yes, I screamed. Everybody looked at me. I was like, we're having a boy. I told you, right? And then the name thing, right? I was like, I wanted to name him Valentina. My wife said, absolutely not. You want your kid to be made fun of and get bullied in school? And I was like, yeah, you're probably right on that. I said, so Hayden Rossi, after Nikki Hayden, and of course, Valentino. She's like, yeah, we can do that. When he got here, of course, he had a TTR 50. I bought him used.
Logan had one of those too.
I want to say my wife was like 4 months pregnant, 6 months pregnant. I went out and bought it for him. My buddies come over. I'm riding around the neighborhood. I forget to spread my knees apart, so I have them kind of close together. I went to go turn, hit my knee. ran it right into a fence, bent the front forks on it. Was like, I didn't even have this bike, but like 3 days I done bent the forks on it. So I had to order new ones and dude, yeah, all that good stuff. So he just never really showed any interest. I got him a Strider bike. He started riding that around. So when he did get a bicycle, he didn't need training wheels. And yeah, he just go out there, sit on it, fire it up. And he just look at me and be like, I'm just not ready. Like, okay, cool. Just let me know when you are. And then he'd see me ride it. And he's just like, yeah, I'll ride with you. Get on it, ride. But then we met Yondell in Moto America, and he's seen kids. Of course, they're older than he is. He was like, well, if they can do it, I want to do it now, right? And that's where that whole kind of transition started for us. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. So, was it the same with you when you found out you was going to have Logan? You was like, "Yep, I got to get him on bikes." Or,
Well, I think it was a given that he's going to have a motorcycle, whether he was going to race it or what he was going to do with it. It was going to be available to him. Because me growing up, whoever's bike I could start, and if you could start it, you could ride it. That kind of rule. So I don't know. I didn't grow up with any money, so the opportunity to be on a bike that young just wasn't there. So I just wanted it to be available to him. If that was something he wanted.
give him the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I ended up buying another PW. So we had two of them. So then he and I would race up the street. We live on a dead end street, and we turn into the yard. It's one time we're running up the street, and he runs me off into the bushes. He didn't brake, he didn't lift, he's pushed me out. And I was like, okay, maybe he wants to race. So we took him to a dirt track, or it was a motocross track, local, and he come back. He's like, nope, not for me. I want to do it. All right. And I started looking around, and I found OMRL racing on kart tracks. So we got the TTR set up with some scooter wheels, and took him out there. And he raced, I think he raced the 50 class for 2 years. And then he bumped up to an XR 100. And he just raced adults since then.
I love it, man. I love
And
it.
they didn't treat him any different than any other racer out there, which I thought was great. They,
Oh, 100%.
they'd come over, hey, he kind of dove up the inside there. I was like, well, he's right there. Go talk to him. You guys are racing, not me. He did something wrong. You need to let him know. So they were. It was pretty cool to have him in that environment, and everybody treat him as an equal, and I think it benefited him quite a bit.
Oh, 100%. That's one thing I love about our beautiful circus, man. It starts with a dad and son or a dad and daughter, and that same love and passion for two wheels. And look at you guys now. Logan's an absolute legend, racing in Moto America. And talking about all this, Ray, I love that me and you were sitting down having this chat, right? So we learned about, how you got into motorcycles and what you ride and all that. And obviously how Logan got into them because of you. But on the whole race side of things, people don't understand the dedication it takes as a father and all the time and effort you put in, because you got two full-time jobs. We have more than two full-times. If you want to break it down, we have a full-time work job that pays the bills. We're a full-time dad and husband, and you're a full-time race dad, mechanic, traveler, the bank, the whole nine, right? So there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize. They just show up to the track, they see you under a tent with a bike on the lift, and Logan walking around with all these patches on his suit, and everybody assumes that you guys are making a living doing this, but that's not the truth at all.
Not any by any stretch of the imagination. Almost 100% of my income that I earn goes to racing. My wife's a school teacher. Like I said, if you got to have your finances in order. Our house is paid off. We have one car loan. That's it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to afford to do this. For sure.
Yeah, it's in the state of tune that our series is in now, it's so expensive to go racing. Like it's not like it used to be when me and you were growing up, getting in club, track days and club racing. back then, dude, people were making a living club racing. Shoot, some people probably still do, you know, the top guys, which always surprised me because I'm like, how does club racing pay more than Moto America? And that's our premier class. I'm confused on that, right? But that's just where we are right now, you know,
Yeah.
in this state. So, you know, you put everything into it, man. And dude, congratulations, bravo, nothing but, dude, much love and respect to you. Cause again, I know the hard work and dedication it goes. I did it. My dad never helped out because he was always flying and gone. Um, Now that he's retired, he's reaping the rewards of all the hard work I put in with this podcast and knowing everybody. So he shows up to the track and pinned a gas shirt, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're Simcoe's dad, blah 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 blah. You want something to eat? Are you hungry? You know, and all this." And it's like, I really like this. I'm like, "Yeah, oh, you're welcome, pops. You are very welcome, right?" But yeah, nothing but love and respect for you, dude. Right? Because
Appreciate it.
it is a lot of work you do, you know, and smiles for miles. Every time I say it, I see that big smile come on your face. And I know you're very proud of Logan, and I am too as
Oh yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So, you know,
The track is my happy place. You know, once
100%.
we're there, it's enjoyment. You do
So,
all the hard work pays off then.
so for everybody tuning in, Mary says, I love your videos. Thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate you. Walk me like you sent me a photo. You was actually working on suspension today, obviously
Yep.
Logan's bike, but before this podcast. So all your free time, you're always turning wrenches, getting the bike prep, you know, making preparations to, hey, we're going to go club race this event. We're going to do practice at this track, Moto America, yada, yada. Tell us and tell everybody your typical race weekend, whether it's at a club race, and if there's any difference between that and when you do a Moto America event.
Oh, well, Moto America is much more structured with their time schedule. When Logan did the Talent Cup with MotoGP, they had it broke down by the minute. That's the way they have their stuff. It's like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. You got to be on top of everything. Moto America is a little bit less than that. Club racing's less than that. So, um, yeah, Moto America. I don't know if you were to just jump into it, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. But the way we worked our way up through, you know, starting out with the kart tracks, and then we were racing, and then he did the Talent Cup, and then Junior Cup. It kind of eases you into it a little better, but it is so much work. My wife, she came to the first Moto America race with us, and I didn't sit down from 5 a.m. until 10 p.m. She was like, "Don't you get a break?" I said, "No, I don't. It's work." I don't think people realize how much work it is.
They don't, man. They don't. But to us that do it, because I help some of my buddies out too. It is work, but it's such a passion. It don't really feel like a job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah.
we're human, right? So there's days we're like, man, I just want to sit down and close my eyes for 5 minutes, right? Like, but you can't. You got to dig deep and find that energy to keep on pushing through to get your son back out there on the track and between sessions, especially if Logan goes down. Now he created a whole lot more work for you, right, on the back end. So now that 10 p.m. cutoff sit down time might turn to 2 a.m. sit down cutoff time and back up at 6 a.m. in the morning and doing it all over again.
I always try to prepare for that event. I want to have clip-ons ready to go. I want to have the rear sets already set up. I want to have, whatever the case is, I want to be able to, address the situation quickly and as efficiently as possible. I don't like to have to go dig through a bin and find, clip on, oh, it needs a hole drilled in it, or, something like that, or this body work's not drilled and prepped to go on the bike yet. I hate that situation. I hate wrenching on bikes at the track. I want to be ready to race.
100%. It's a good way to look at it because when you're as a dad slash mechanic, when you're in that situation, it causes a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic, a lot of, and then that's where mistakes start to happen,
Yep.
right? So being very organized at a track is absolutely detrimental, right? And then with saying that, people, dude, you got to do. Not only are you turning wrenches on it, you got to do cold pit, hot pit, tire warmers,
Mhm.
generator, dude, seats, tent, blah, yeah, 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 water. Make sure I got
Umbrella
the water.
girl.
Umbrella girl, right? All that stuff for Logan, man, and on top of working on the bike and all that. And it's in Moto America, yeah, you don't everything's I consider it like military time. Everything has a time slot. When you can go
Yep.
change your tires, when you get supposed to be lined up, when cold pit, you can bring the tent and all that, hot pit, yada yada, all that stuff. Club racing, it's just you pull up, you unload, you set up your tent, generator, tire warmers, bike, yada yada yada. It's relaxed environment, right? Bell goes, B session up in 5 minutes. Yeah, I can go out in 10 minutes. I can go out in 15 minutes. Not a big deal. Moto America, it's like, nah, if you miss this,
Yep.
you're done, or you got to start at the back of the grid, no matter who you are. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You were asking about the chaos at the track with a crash and stuff. We had a club race down in where were we? Road Atlanta, I think it was. Logan went down, took out the whole side of the bike. I mean, it was clip on, rear set, everything. Just cleared it out. And there was one race, and then he was back out on track again. And I had a buddy there. He jumped in, and we had that bike rebuilt and ready to go. He gridded up on time and got first place. So, I mean, it's chaos, but it's controlled chaos.
It very much so, especially it makes it easier when you're organized and you're not
Yeah.
looking for that 10 millimeter socket, right? What's the deal with the 10 millimeters disappearing all the time, right? Or the 12 or whatever it is, right? It's all lined up where you just reach over naturally and you know where it is and what it is. I mean, I've been working on bikes, dude, my whole life pretty much. So yeah, I could look at Allen Key and be like, oh, that's a 3 mil. Oh, that's a 6 mil, right? No problem. Um,
I'm the
so
type of person that has to have the foam cutouts for his tools in the tool cart and all the sockets on the pins and everything too. I'm not that pull the drawer open and fish through the pile of wrenches.
yeah, I'm the same way. My toolbox, like I got a lot of Snap-on tools, right? I was suckered into buying thousands of dollars all this Snap-on tools. But my main benefit of the Snap-on tool is I can just call up anybody that has a truck and say, hey, this broke. Hey, I need this. And you just go meet them, boom, it's done. I don't have to mail it off. I ain't got to wait. I ain't got to go to Harbor Freight and buy it and break it in 3 months, blah, 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 blah. So that was my self-reasoning to spend all this money on Snap-ons. But you got the magnetic tray, and I took a silver Sharpie and wrote down, 6 mil, 7 mil, 8 mil, 9, 10, blah, 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 all the way up. So I could just look at it and pick it up. And the tray's magnets, I could physically pick it out and stick it to the side of the toolbox and your socket stick in it or your Allen keys or whatever it is. And you just, pull them back, put them back. So I'm like you in that aspect. I go to some of my friend's house and open up the tool drawer and it gives me anxiety. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, what there is no rhyme or reason for this. Go just dig for it. You'll find it eventually. I'm like, dude, at the racetrack, there is no you'll find it eventually time.
Yeah. If it takes me longer to find the tool than it does to do the job, I can't take it. That just drives me nuts.
Absolutely does. So when you guys joined Moto America, of course, it was Junior Cup, right?
Actually, Logan started, he did some demonstration riding in Pittsburgh on his 50 is where we first got into riding at Moto America. Yeah.
Love it.
And he quickly learned that if he was wearing his leathers and on the bike, nobody bothered him. But if he was in his street clothes and riding around, they're asking him who he was and what he was doing and why he was on the bike. So he would just hang out in his leathers all day.
I love it. I love it. Like pajamas. I mean, when I first got my custom suit in, I immediately took it out the box. It was like, yes, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Threw it on. My wife comes home. She's like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, I'm breaking in my new shirt because I was laying on the floor, like the old rolling around in it, doing some
Yeah.
push-ups, just doing poses. She's like, you're such an idiot, but you love me, babe. You love me. She's like, you're a cornball. I am very much so. Right. Yeah, and then you got to Moto America in Junior Cup, correct?
The next step would have been Talent Cup. He rode Talent Cup, and that was Moto America also.
Yep.
That was interesting. It was an experience. We'll put it that way.
It always is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So from Talent Cup, what was the next journey?
And then since his birthday's in July, we had to wait till July, and then he was able to run the 400 in Junior Cup for a couple rounds there. Then we did a full season Junior Cup, and then he did the last round in New Jersey on a twin and Junior Cup. And then took basically last year off for him to be old enough to run Super Sport. So we ran Apex's bike when Weira. They were kind enough to let Logan ride one of their bikes all season with Weira, and for the New Jersey round.
I know. I see him. Him. He's good friends with my buddy Kevin Horney, also at Apex, right? So, and so in 23, when I first met Logan, you guys were on the 400. Was that his first weekend there?
Yes, that's the first time he had been at New Jersey.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, dude, that's it's amazing, man. Because I remember walking up to him, and I was like, who is this tall kid right here? Like, I'm going to talk up. I was like, dude, what is up? I'm Simcoe from Pendergast Podcast. He's like, hey, my name's Logan. I was like, bro, when you coming on my podcast? He just kind of looked at me like, well, when you want me on it? I'm like, dude, let's do it, right? And since then, yeah, dude, it's an honor to have your son as a friend. And I tell everybody that, right? In this short lifetime, Logan, well, I mean, Ray, when we grow up, right, where my son's 12, he thinks I'm 45. He's like, dude, I got like forever to be 45, Dad. I'm like, nah, bro, you literally got this much time because it goes by so quick, you know. And I tell everybody it's an absolute honor to have everybody as friends. Logan, my first impression of Logan was, dude, what a cool kid, what a great attitude, what a great vibe he has, right? And of course, I sit at the trackside and I watch all my friends go out there and ride because everybody's got their own unique feature that they bring to motorcycles, their own riding style, the way they enter the corner, the way they, mid corner, the way they set it up to come out. It's a beautiful thing to see. And since then, yeah, obviously, we've been great friends and it's always an honor to see you guys at the track. I can't wait to see you, which brings me to 2025. What's going on this season? What are you guys doing?
Now we're putting together a Suzuki GSXR 750. It's a 2022 bike, street bike. Local guy had. It only had 2,000 miles on it. So I like the picture you saw. I'm working on suspension today. I got all the electronics on it. Waiting on exhaust to get here. So once that gets here, then we can get everything flashed and tuned and ready to go.
I love it. I love it. So super sport season this year?
Yes, sir. We're gonna try and do every round but Washington and Laguna Seca.
Well, yeah, because it's all the way across the world. Yeah. It's like 5-day travel just to get there.
Yeah.
5 days back.
Just financially and vacation time, I think is going to be limiting factors.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's honestly, in my personal opinion, that's one of the only downfalls we have as far as racing in America, just how spread out all the tracks are and the way they set up the calendar. Going from East Coast to West Coast and then coming back to East Coast and going to Texas and then coming back. It's a lot of travel, a lot of money. Whereas, all my mates out there in BSB, if wherever you live in the UK, it's only like 6 to 8 hour drive and you hit every freaking track there is, right?
So it kind of blows their mind when they think of how much money we spend just in transport.
It does, man. It does. And I got Yeah, I got a lot. So my buddy Luca Allen, he just did the announcement. He'll be here in Moto America with CW Moto this year in the Super Sport class. And I remember when I first met him, and I was telling him, he's like, well, that's one question. He's like, how far is Laguna Seca from you? I was like, bro, I'm in Virginia. Like, I'm here. Laguna Seca is here. And to drive there, literally, if you was to drive straight through, which is almost impossible unless you have 2 or 3 people, so you rotate, sleep in, and stopping for fuel and food, and just keep trucking with no hotels, no long periods of stop. Me and my dad went from here to Arizona. It was like 2 days, pretty much. Of course, we stopped for a little bit, right, to stretch your legs. But if you was going to do it straight through, it'd still be 2.5 day drive. That's 3,000 miles. That's a long drive.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like, dude, you, it'll take you what 16 hours to drive through Texas. It seems like it's like, does this state ever end?"
Yeah.
So, but it's good, man. I'm glad you guys. So I will see you Daytona.
No, we're not doing Daytona.
Okay, so Atlanta would be y'all's first
Yep.
round.
Yep.
Proper, dude. So I will see you guys I'm doing Daytona. So I'm going to Daytona at the beginning of March. When I come home, I got wrist surgery on my left wrist on the 18th, and then 6 days after that, the following week I fly out to Texas for the MotoGP race. And then I come back. Of course, I'll do that. I'll do Road Atlanta, Daytona, Atlanta GP, Road Atlanta, VIR, which I'm so excited. We're coming back to Virginia International Raceway. Let's
that's exciting.
people. Yeah. Yes. And you guys will be there too as well.
Yeah, that'll be Logan's first time there.
You guys are absolutely going to love it. VR is a great track because it's one of those tracks as far as when I rate a track, I look at it not only as a racer side of point, but a fan spectator side too as well. How big is the track? How spread out is it? How far do people actually have to walk? If they don't have a little pit bike, they can ride around our golf cart or whatever, little electric scooter or whatever it is. VIR it's not so big. Everything's close together. Not only is it an awesome racetrack for the riders, it's great for the parents. It's great for the kids. They always have little bounce houses set up for all the young little kids. There's a lot of food vendors. Everything's not so spread far out to where you really got to have a pit bike to, like Road America.
Oh yeah,
right. Road
yep.
America.
First time I went to Road America, I didn't have anything to ride. It's like, oh, never doing that again.
No, absolutely not. Even Road Atlanta, it's pretty spread out too. If you really don't have a pit bike, just prepare to hike it because you're gonna get a workout in, especially that hill going up and down from the pits.
Yeah,
I did that when I helped Ron Wolf, the Wolf Pack out, and their generator went out, and they borrowed one from Rodney Vest. And as soon as you come down that concrete hill, the steep one, he had his whole setup right there. It was a 9500 series generator. So I was like, Dave, jump on the back. I had this little pit bike. Jump on the back, grab the generator. We're going to go up this hill. I started going up the hill. I'm like, yeah, we're not making it up this hill, right? So I took the scooter up, come back down. Me, him, and Daniel Shoemake, man, big shout out to him. Had to freaking lug that thing up that hill. And by the time I got to the top of the hill, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done for the day. Like that just, yeah, it was rough, but we got the job done and we got it in. Listen, man, I'm super excited about the 2025 season for Logan. I'm a huge fan of Logan, and I tell him this, and I'm gonna tell you the same thing, man. Whatever vision Logan has in this sport, whatever heights that he wants to achieve, man, I hope he achieves it 8 times over. And for me, it's an absolute honor to be his friend and to enjoy this ride with him. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, no problem at all. I can't wait to sit back down with him at the track. Me and him going to do many more podcasts together. What you're doing for the sport it's everything, because without dads like you and moms like you, where's our futures coming from?
Yep.
So you are My buddy Richard just said Road Atlanta. Yes, Richard, we're going to Road Atlanta, baby. Again, absolutely we are. So I brought one of my best friends, Richard. It was his first time. He lives 20 minutes away from Road Atlanta, so I go stay with him at his house. And it was his first time there at a Moto America race with me. And he had a ball. So this year he's going. His wife's going too as well. So It's going to be a lot of fun. I took him around and introduced him to everybody. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, because at first I told him, I was like, man, I only know a couple people. And then he was like, dude, you know everybody. Oh my God, I love it. Well, listen, this has been a whole lot of fun. We're actually an hour into this. I don't want to keep you too much longer because I want to let you get back to getting Logan ready for the assault this year at Moto America. This has been an honor. I mean, you definitely got to sit down and do a part two together. Um, I want to sit down with Logan and do like follow his progression this year, like I did pretty much last year. We'll do what I already had him on earlier, so I want to do like a mid-season recap. When I see you at Atlanta, I'm gonna pull that out. Me and I'm gonna sit down for a couple minutes live at the track. Me and you too as well.
Sure thing.
And then we'll, at the end of the season, I want to get him back on and I want to get you back on too. We can just do a whole recap of 2025 and talk about, what's going on in 2026. But before I get into my other favorite part of this podcast, where we get to know Raymond, the legend Raymond, the legend of Logan Monk, personal question. So people get to know you more as a human and not just a superhuman robot, so to speak, that spends all his money and travel and time into Logan, which is, again, a beautiful thing, right? I got one more question for you. Look, you see all those hearts, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about the Talent Cup replacing the Junior Cup and the cost that goes along with it?
I don't see the cost being that much different, honestly. I think it's a much better chassis than taking a street bike and trying to make it a race bike. So I think the potential's there. I'm not so sure about the age structure, the way that it's set up. It seems to be a little prohibitive. Logan's had that issue too with his age and his size. You know, he's big enough to ride a bigger bike, and he's been riding a bigger bike, but he can't race it because of the rules. I don't know. It's got potential. We'll see what happens.
Do you think that the whole, umpteenth bankruptcy thing is going to affect that whole structure because they do use the 350 enduro motor out of the KTM engine in that bike? Do you see that affecting it at all, or do you think that?
No, I think it's so far along right now that they've got stuff in place for it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I seen it first time at Jersey. They actually had it on display. It was an amazing bike. It was well set up, well propped. And as a matter of fact, I had my buddy Kyle owns Sorg on. I got that right, Kyle. I got it. Yeah, we had a good conversation about him testing the bike and the development of it and all his thoughts on it. So it's absolutely a proper weapon. So I'm excited this season to see the Talent Cup and the future legends on it, right? And see how it's going to progress. So within saying that, bro, are you a coffee drinker?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you
can't live without it?
Me too. I had like 4 cups this morning. I feel you. As soon as I get up, it's straight to the coffee machine. Let's go. What's for dinner tonight, bro?
I have no idea. We're going out to eat with Scotty Nelson.
So do you do the cooking or does your wife do the cooking?
Usually my wife. But if it's on the grill or the roaster, I'll do it.
Other than that, it's all you, boo-boo.
Yeah.
See, I'm the cook of the family. My wife, she cooks too, but I pretty much do 90% of it. She makes great tacos. She makes a good lasagna too. It's like her mom's recipe. It's not real saucy, but it's good, man. Absolutely. And she makes other things that's good. Me, I get it from my mom. I like to get in there and make my own salad dressings and yada, yada, yada. It does take time, but to me, I go to restaurants and I'll sit down and I'm like, I just spent $40 on this. I could have made it way better at the house, right? But you always don't have the time to do that because how busy life is.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man. So let me ask you this, dude. Tell us something we don't know about you at all.
About me, up until last year, I worked midnight, so I would drive after work to the track and then stay up. So anytime you saw me at the track, I was pretty much a zombie.
Bro, that's like 36 hours.
Yeah.
at a
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
That's that's
That is not unheard of for me to be up 24, 30 hours.
that's dedication, commitment, adrenaline, excitement, to build up the whole nine, right? It's yeah, awesome. I told you people there's a lot that go into it, you know. So has your schedule changed since then? Are you first
Yeah.
shift, second shift, or
Yep. I'm working first shift now, Monday through Friday. So
it's a lot easier too, ain't it?
yeah, it only took 14 years.
Well, congratulations. I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome, man. Saying that, what's your worst habit, Ray?
Worst habit? Motorcycle racing.
No, it's not. That's the best habit. But yes, he said it's the worst habit for my wallet.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh, I love it, man. Um, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Is that something you do too as well?
No, I don't have time.
No. Not even on the road driving. What do you just listen to music
Yep.
or podcast?
Yeah, music.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Do you
Occupy my
listen
brain with something else.
right? Do you listen to any podcasts at all?
Yours?
Thank you. Anybody else's besides mine?
Uh, Joe Rogan sometimes.
Joe Rogan. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the the goat of podcasting. I'll say
That
that.
was more when I was on midnights though than daylight. I kind of changed the role that I have at work too, so I don't have the free time to have earbuds in or something.
Well, congratulations, man. It's good, man. Good. Um, what is your favorite holiday?
Ooh, probably Christmas. Get together with family and everything and really appreciate what you got.
It's a fact. 110% fact. Are you a hot sauce guy? Like do you like spicy food or
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
did you ever watch the hot ones on YouTube?
I've seen it. I don't watch it that often, but I've seen it.
I I get their hot sauce. I got the last dab, the very last one, like their hottest one. I got like 4 bottles of that. Actually, I need to reorder more because I'm almost out. It's really good. It's hot. Matter of fact, I just went to I think I got it at Kroger. I thought it was Food Line, but it was at Kroger. It's called I have to text you the name of it. Dude, it's really good hot sauce. You know, you get some hot sauce where like it overpowers the food and it's just that's all you
Yeah.
taste. That's why sriracha is the same way, right? Sriracha's got great flavor, but whatever you put it on, I don't care if it's this much. That's all you're gonna taste is sriracha. I'm trying to remember the name of this man, but it's like 1,300 million Scoville. I mean, a million over a million Scoville, so it's higher on the heat scale, but it don't overpower your food, right? It's got really good flavor, but it has that heat. But I tell everybody this: if you want to make your own hot sauce, I'm not talking about the red sauce or the green sauce. I tell everybody get crushed red pepper flakes and grapeseed oil. Mix
Oh
them
yeah.
together. Yep, and let them sit. You could put that on soups and salads. The longer it sits, the redder the oil's going to be because of the crushed red flavor, right? But it's only going to get as hot as the crushed red peppers are. But it's
Right.
good because it don't change the flavor profile at all, but it gives you that heat you want or you desire with food, which is yeah, that's what we want. We grew up in the same era pretty much. So are you Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, either one's good by me.
Okay, okay. Well, let me ask you this: if you was in Star Wars, what Star Wars character would you be, Ray?
Oh boy, that's an interesting question. No, I've ever thought of it. Maybe Chewbacca.
Chewie. I love it. I love Chewie, man. If you had your own private track day and you can invite any 3 people, dead or alive, to the track, Valentina Rossi, Nikki Hayden, George Washington, whoever it is, what's the 3 people you invite to your private track day?
Logan, Nikki Hayden, and probably Rossi.
The GOAT, right? That's
Yeah.
I tell everybody, man, Ross is the GOAT, you know, and people are like Mark Marquez, this and that. And I was like, I get it, but it's hard to compare. You can't compare Rossi and Marquez. Well, they race together. Facts. But this is my answer to that. Mark Marquez didn't grow up on the 125s, 250s. and the 500 two-strokes,
Yeah,
right?
don't forget the 500.
And then Rossi went to the first iteration of the four strokes. This is before all this traction bullshit, all this electronic that we have now, right? And throughout the years, as the more electronics and the ride heights and all this and the wings and all this shit come into play, he had to adapt, change his mental side of the game, also adapt his riding style and change it to get the best out of these bikes. And even when he retired in 2022, 21, whatever it was, he was going fast around any racetracks he's ever been before, right? But it's just, I guess, as a rider goes, they lose whatever it is to push and be as competitive as they used to be. So to me, that's what separates Rossi from everybody else, right? Plus, you can go anywhere in the world and say VR46, and a grandma's going to say the goat. You know what I'm saying? So what he did for MotoGP is absolutely amazing, because back then, it was the 500 Grand Prix, as it used to be called, wasn't looking too good, because the sport was dying at the time. They took the technology as far as they could take it, and yeah, man. So let me ask you this thing, Raymond. If you had your own private island, what's the one racetrack you'd have on your island?
Phillip Island.
Phillip Island. I love it, dude. It's great. Great track. I would have Cadwell Park, as everybody knows. I'm a British Superbikes. Do you ever watch British Superbikes?
Yep. Cadwell's the one with the jump, right?
Cadwell Park it is. Yes, it is. I had the honor to go there in 2023, and it's just like anything. Ray, you show up to the track, first place you want to go is the jump. The first place at Laguna Seca you want to see is the corkscrew. It's Texas, turn one. It's like this uphill. You don't realize it till you get there, and you're like, holy shit.
So huge.
Bro, right? I'm looking, I'm like, whoa, it's a gnarly track. Same thing with Cadwell, but Cadwell Park is this wide. Everybody else, all the other tracks is this wide. Of course, the mountain jump is man, it's the most beautiful thing you ever see. Which brings me to the TT. Do you watch the TT too as well?
Yeah. Yep.
Love it, man. I love the TT. They have an app, TT Plus, that I do every year. It's like $25. I got a lot of good series on there you can watch. So if anybody go to TT Plus, sign up. Also, Moto America, you guys can watch British Superbike racing for free. It's Bennett'sBritishSuperbikes.com. It's their main website. Their season starts this year, I want to say May, if I'm not mistaken, at Alton Park. So during that weekend, just Google it, look it up. Go to Bennett's British Superbike during that weekend. I have a yellow go live, watch live. Boom, there it is. Enjoy the show, my friends. It's absolutely amazing. Of course, MotoGP, yada yada yada. What's saying that? Did you want Jorge Martin or Pecco to win the title last year?
I didn't really have a preference, to be honest with you.
It's just good racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's I wanted Martin to win because the underdog, where Ducati done turned him down twice, and he's done proved himself like I don't know how many times to Ducati to deserve the ride. And then he leaves, he goes to Aprilia, and what does he do? He puts that number one on that Aprilia bike. Same thing with Tommy Birdwell, right? He raced at PBM with Glenn Irvin on the Ducati team. He won the championship. Left Ducati, signed with HRC Honda out there, and took the number one plate to Honda. I love those scenarios in that there's such a rivalry there. I think when you do that right, I'm not saying you don't love everybody on the team. You do. It's just, you get a sour taste in your mouth. I want to leave this manufacturer. I'm going to go here. You guys are going to regret it. I'm taking the number one plate with me. Then I'm going to come back and hopefully win it again, on that. Just it's that whole uniqueness of it, which I love. So I was excited for Jorge. People say that he's not going to do this well this year, and I'm like,
there's so much stuff in the background that you don't see, that you don't know about, that a lot of people don't even think about.
They don't, man. They really don't. So just stay tuned, people. And the season is coming upon us pretty quickly. Not only that, but Moto America in 3 weeks. So yes, it's gonna be fun, bro. I cannot wait. Let me ask you this, dude. If you could go back and travel to any era in time, what's the era you travel back to?
Era. Uh, what's wrong with what we're gotten right now?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, I'm good where we're at.
I like where we're at.
Yeah.
I feel like we're fortunate to see all these changes in the motorcycle industry within racing and obviously the world too as well, right? Yeah, it's definitely a good spot to be, man. Absolutely. So I got two more questions, and then we'll end the podcast. So you can go back doing what you're doing. I know we ran over a little bit. Are you currently watching anything on like Netflix or Apple TV you could recommend to people?
Nope.
I
I
love it.
spend all my time in the garage.
I love it. Just straight up. Nope, not at
Nope.
all.
Nope.
So let me ask you this, and I already know what one of your answers is going to be 110%. But if money was no object, Ray, and you ran a superbike team in Moto America, what is the manufacturer that you would run? And who are the two current riders you'd put on your bike? Well, I might as well say one current rider because I know who the other one's to be. It's going to be Logan's a given, but the manufacturer and your second rider that would be on your team.
Rider. Well, if money is no object, I guess I'd probably run a Ducati. Logan would be rider number one. Number two rider. It's a good question. I think it would have to be someone that meshed his personality wise with Logan. That brings something else to the table. Brings some value, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Logan says SDK.
I know Logan's sitting right beside you.
Yeah.
I know he is. That's awesome. SDK, yeah, he just signed with M4 Suzuki. So big shout out to SDK, man. It's amazing. And then Cam Peterson will be on the Harley. On the Harley in the baggers. So will Loris Baez. So it's been a lot of
that's interesting.
It is seat changes going on. Still don't know where my boy Posh is going to end up at. Yeah, there's still a lot of seats to be filled, and then Top Pro just released that thing where they're not going to be racing in. All right, come here, give me a kiss.
Bye.
I love you.
Love you.
Have safe travels. Text me when you guys get there.
Nope.
All right, love you too, babe.
I love you. Bye.
Bye. Hey, do you want your?
No.
All right.
The weather's too bad.
All right. So, yeah, my wife, she's going to North Carolina with her friend. They're going to see some comedian. I forget who they're going to see. So it starts at 8. They're going to go out there and, shop around, do what women do. So us men, we're the same, but we don't really, I like to go to the outlet malls. But other than that, it's, I'm just along with the journey. Wherever it takes me, let's go, right? I consider myself a jellyfish in the ocean. Wherever the waves go, I'm just this ball of positive energy and smiles for miles and just, let's go. Let's try it. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. So I love it. I love it. Well, listen, Ray, it's been a lot of fun. It's an absolute honor to have you on this podcast. I cannot wait to see you and Logan here coming up in April. Is it April? Yeah, April at Road America. It's gonna be proper mega, man. I'm a big hugger, as you already know. So just prepare yourself for a big bear hug because I'm coming at you. So listen, I'm gonna let you in the podcast, let you give all the shout outs. And with saying that, are you gonna have any like t-shirts or hats or anything for sale that people can actually buy?
I don't know yet. They cost money. So you gotta have the money to put out first. So we'll see what happens. Gotta get the bike built and painted, and
that's first and foremost.
100%.
I ordered a bunch of stickers. I gave Logan some. I got some more. I just ordered last night, so I'm gonna hook you guys up with some more stickers when I see you. I use this one. It's called Sticker App. It's fairly cheap. Like you get like 100 stickers for like $30 or $40.
We almost always have stickers.
Yeah.
Stickers and posters.
And posters, yes. So there it is. All right. So listen, I'm gonna let you end it here in a second. I just want to say first and foremost, thank you to everybody that watches this podcast. It's nothing but love, because without Raymond and Logan and all my friends coming out here, I wouldn't be able to do this. And if you guys and girls have not yet, please go to all my socials, YouTube, all that shit. Hit that bell, that ding, 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 ding. It helps me out a whole lot, and I greatly appreciate it. Big shout out to Next Level Financial for all your financial needs. People, it's 2025. Love yourself. BisonTrack.com. Get that full custom suit, tailored, measured, blah, 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 specifically for you. That was a little tongue twister right there. Big shout out to my man, Chef Eats. You guys can use the discount code Pin the Gas and get some money off your order. It's absolutely amazing. Are you guys with Chef Eats?
No.
I gotta hook you guys up, man. I gotta get you in there. You know, you carry a grill and all this stuff to the track, which is extra, dude. With Chef Eats, all you need is a microwave. You got a generator anyway. You throw the meals in there for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. You have perfectly delicious soft steak, chicken, dude. The mashed potatoes, the meals are absolutely amazing. He has athlete meals too, so you could order a different meal for dad and athlete meals for Logan. So keep his mind sharp and healthy too, as well, because that's very important. So is sleep and breathing. Can't forget about the breathing part, especially when you're on track. Big shout out to TST Industries. Okay, I can't wait to meet Bart. Big shout out to my man Rossi started coloring this. Big shout out to my man Martin at the clothingking.co.uk, where you guys can go and order all your Pin the Gas merch. Big shout out to Superbike Supply, SFL Mini GP, RD Racing and Jake March, Vet2 Track, Flying Eyes Optics, 64 Degree Racing, and Venom.com. Listen, when you go to the track, do yourself and everybody else a favor. Don't just bring one undersuit. Bring more undersuits than you do your underwear. Trust me, you're gonna need them. You don't want to walk right. You see Ray, he's smiling, he's laughing right now. Everybody knows, right? Listen, people, everybody I give a shout out on this. They're all my friends in the industry. You're not gonna go wrong from ordering anything from any one of these guys. So Ghetto Customs for all your custom body work, Carnes Performance in Pennsylvania, KYT Helmet Americas, because I know Logan's also on KYT. So
Yep.
proper mega helmets. Big shout out to K-Tech. K-Tech Suspension USA, my man Birch, Kendall, and Dakari. RTR, Ready to Race in North Carolina. Coleman Power Sports in Virginia. So if you guys are in Virginia, go to Coleman Power Sports for all your motorcycle needs. Same thing in Pennsylvania. Go to Carnes Performance. In North Carolina, Ready to Race, of course. Big shout out to McLeo Escapes Track and Tour. Have you ever wanted to race or ride, not race, but do a track day at a MotoGP track? Look no further than McLeo Escapes. You can go to his website, McLeoescapes.com. Road Racing World. I need everybody to go to roadracingworld.com right now. Donate to the air fences. It's imperative that we have it. If we don't have the air fence, the corner marshals, or the ambulance, guess what? Logan's not going to show up and race. You're not going to be able to show up around and do a track day. Every donation helps, whether it's $1, $5, $50, whatever you can afford. Please do it, and we greatly appreciate you. And with saying that, if you show up to a track and that Chris Ulrich, which is a legend, has 2-up rides he gives. I forget what the minimum donation is for that. I think it's $350 or $400. You donate that, you get a 2-up ride on a super bike with Chris, and he will show you exactly the proper way on how deep you can get in the corner, how early you can get on the gas, and how fast you can really go around a racetrack, especially with 2 people on it, which is absolutely amazing.
And that money goes to the air fence.
And all that money goes straight to the air fence, which is what we need, which is
they
absolutely
save lives,
amazing.
for sure.
110%. You guys hear me say it all the time. So what are you waiting on? RoadRacingWorld.com. Big shout out to STG, my buddy Brian Van and Max Van. Absolutely amazing. Again, if you guys need anything, order from them. They're absolutely amazing people and legends. Big shout out to V121Pro.com. It's my buddy Mike the Spike Edwards, a legend out there in BSB. He is in the UK, so any of my friends want to take any proper mega training from a legend, look no further than Mike at V121Pro.com. Big shout out to the whole BTR program, Build, Train, Race, World Enfield, and Moto America. To me, that's one of the best programs we have in Moto America. It's absolutely amazing what they do for all the people just getting into racing. It's, man, I love that program. I can't wait to see everybody at VIR this year. I've had a lot of the girls on the podcast to just go back and listen, and they're all super amazing. Big shout out to Racer 411, my buddy Ant Lee at tippingracing.com, Hyper Naked, California Superbike School, UK. And if anybody's looking for any performance done for, Indians and Harleys and all that, look no further than King Performance. My buddy Cole King has his own dealership. So, yeah, nothing but love. Listen, Ray, this has been a lot of fun, man. Tell everybody where they can, well, not so much find you on social media, but the whole Logan side of things where people can support you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Logan's on Instagram, X, Facebook. I'd like to thank Bison, KYP, Vortec Racing, Ocean Pro, Blood Lubricants. Oh, GB Racing this year. We're excited to have them on board. Case covers, protective equipment there. Yeah, so look us up.
Listen, this has been a lot of fun. People, when you go to the racetrack, please go show all your love and support to Logan and his dad. It's imperative. Go out there, get a poster, get it signed by Logan, hang it up in your room, right? Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to sit back down with you. I hope everybody enjoys. I hope your guys' Saturday, you hear it all the time. It's as proper mega as you are the rest of the weekend. Just stay on with me just for one more second when I end this. And yeah, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it was an absolute honor on this Saturday afternoon to sit down with the legend, Ray Monk, the father, the legend, Logan Monk, because without Ray right here and his dedication, Logan wouldn't be out there riding as all the other kids out there. So nothing but love to you, Ray. And
thank you.
Yeah, can't wait to see you at the track here soon. So on that note, we'll see you guys later. All right, let me end this real quick.
Calling all two-wheel enthusiasts, get ready to rev up your earbuds with Pin the Gas Podcast, the ultimate motorcycle racing podcast, hosted by Chris Simcoe, one of our very own excellent leaders here in Roanoke, Virginia. With expert analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive writer interviews, Pin the Gas Podcast delivers the adrenaline rush of the racetrack straight to your ears. Whether you're a diehard fan or a curious newcomer, you'll gain insights that will transform how you watch and understand motorcycle racing. On your favorite podcast app, join Simcoe as he takes you on a high-speed journey through the world of motorcycle racing. Pin the Gas Podcast.